The Great Migration.
Soon after the Civil War ended, white supremacy re-established itself across the North, and new laws involving segregation were put into place. Sharecropping was one of the biggest reasons why Americans decided to leave the South. Sharecropping was where a landowner allows an African American to use a portion of their land in return for a share of the crops produced. This is just slavery, but in a different form. Sadly, there was little to no opportunities in the South for any other kinds of work. Another driving force for the African Americans leaving the South was the KKK, also known as the Ku Klux Klan. They lynched and chased African Americans out of town, claiming that whites are superior. Sadly, there was a lot of racism in the South. Another reason why the African Americans left was due to World War I. Because the newly industrialized North and West were in need of work, due to many of the whites working at the factories left to fight for their country. Black newspapers were used as lures to get African Americans to move to the North and West. Many of the factories' owners were so desperate that they paid for the travel. Over the time of 60 years, over 6 million blacks migrated from the South to the North and West through the years 1910 to 1970. The African Americans' reason for leaving was the racist culture, the job opportunities, and the Jim Crow laws of the South. They fled to the North and West to seek safety from the violent South, too. Because of the labor shortage, some companies made it very easy for African Americans to migrate to the North. 5 million men had left for World War II, so 5 million African Americans were needed to replace them. Due to the migration in great numbers, housing was a big issue. Although there was no segregation in the North, racism was still a problem. By the end of the migration, smaller black communities have expanded over 20 times its original size. Due to this rapid expansion, many of the migrants had made sub-cities within cities, such as Harlem. Due to this migration, many of the northern and western states saw a dramatic rise in population, while the South lost an awesome amount of population. Many of the migrants tended to go towards other African American neighborhoods, so that gave more power to the African Americans. Newspapers, businesses, jazz clubs, churches, and political organizations provided a newer, strong foundation for racial politics. After the Great Depression, the educated black workers were given an opportunity to work for wealthier jobs. Towards the end of the migration, the racism has started to lessen.
So say no. So say no. So say no.